This video is to help you review circles. You learned them in Algebra 2 and a little bit at the beginning of the year, and so hopefully this is just a little refresher course. So the first thing we're going to look at is a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. HK is my center, and my r is my radius. And this is all outlined on page 94 for you. And so we're going to move on straight to practice number 1. So practice number 1. So it says that I need to find the midpoint of, it says compute the midpoint of the segment, and it gives you the two segments. So its 2 points are 4, 7, and 3, 2, and all it wants to do is find the midpoint. So let's go ahead and do that. So the midpoint formula is that you add the x's and add the y's because you're finding the average, you're finding the middle. So you're going to do the x plus the x over 2 because we added two things, and the y plus the y over 2. The proper formula is that the midpoint equals x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. And that's what I've done up here. So for this first piece, -4 plus 3 is -1. Oops, and I missed the negative sign. It's a -2 and a -2. Okay, so -4 plus 3 is -1 over 2, so this first piece is going to be -1/2, comma, for the next piece. This should have been -2 right there. So 7, the 7 right here, plus this -2 makes a 5 over 2, so it's going to be a 5 over a 2. And this is my answer for number 1. That is my midpoint of that line segment. Let's go on to number 2. So number 2 says I need to find the equation of a circle with a center of -2, 1 and a radius of, oh man, I spelled that wrong. Let me rewrite that. A radius of 5. So in my center, this is my h and my k, and this is my r. So when I do x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, I'm going to plug things in. So I'm going to get x minus a -2 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 5 squared. And I'm going to clean it up one time. So I'm going to do a minus makes a plus. So you do x plus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared, and then 5 squared is 25. So this is my answer. I want to practice one time just multiplying this out. This is called standard form. I want to write it one time in general form just so we can practice. So general form we're going to multiply it out. So we're going to do the x plus 2 squared, which is really x plus 2 times x plus 2. So when you multiply that out, you can pause the video and take a quick second. You should get x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then we're going to do the y minus 1 squared. So we're going to do y minus 1 times y minus 1. And so when you do that, I'm going to take this plus sign in the middle right here and put a plus sign. And then when you multiply your y stuff, you should get y squared minus 2y plus 1. And then this equals 25 from right here. General form normally equals 0, so I'm going to move stuff over and combine like terms. And we usually put our square things first. So we're going to do x squared plus my y squared. We go in alphabetical order. We go back to the x's. Plus 4x minus my 2y. I'm going to subtract my 25 over. So right here I have a 4 plus a 1 is 5, and then I'm going to minus 25. So I have a positive 5 minus 25, so minus a 20 equals 0. This is also a correct answer. This problem didn't say which way to write your answer. This was another acceptable answer, but this is general form. Let's go on to number 3. Okay, so problem 3 says that I have x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 45. So this is my x minus h squared plus my y minus k squared equals r squared. So in this case, my h is 3, and my k is going to be a negative 1 because those signs don't match. So my center is going to be 3, negative 1, because I was supposed to subtract, but up here I added instead. And then my r is going to be the square root of 45, which we probably have to use a calculator to approximate the decimal so that we can sketch a graph. So I'm going to grab a calculator really quick. Which is approximately 6.71 or so. So to sketch our graph, we're first going to go plot our center, which was 3, negative 1. So over 1, 2, 3, and go down 1. And from this blue dot, I'm going to go up almost 7, due north, due south, due east, and due west. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and almost to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost to 7. Please keep in mind, I'm not a beautiful artist, but I'm going to connect the dots the best I can. And there's my circle. So that was practice problem number 3. And now we're going to do number 4. So I'm going to start by doing the math part first of number 4, and then we can go back and do the graph. It says I have x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 4y minus 4 equals 0. We're going to complete the square. So we're actually going to complete the square, but not just once, twice. So I'm going to put the x stuff together. So I'm going to write x squared plus 2x plus a magic blank for my x stuff plus a y squared minus a 4y plus a blank for my y stuff equals, I'm going to add the 4 over. So this 4 went to this side, and then I added my 2 blank lines in. So to fill in the blank, it's going to be b over 2 squared, where this is a, b, and then this would have been c down here. So my b here is 2. So 2 over 2 equals 1, and then 1 squared equals 1. So I'm going to put a 1 here. I got to put a 1 on the other side and balance my equation. Do the same thing again. This is my b, so my b equals negative 4. So negative 4 over 2 equals negative 2. Negative 2 squared is a 4. So up here I put a 4, and then I have to balance it and put a 4. This red number 1 is the perfect number that allows this x piece to factor into x plus 1 squared plus the 4, the blue 4, is the perfect piece that lets the y stuff factor into y minus 2 squared. And then over here I have to add up all of these numbers. So 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. So now this looks a lot better because now I can graph. This is my x minus h, my y minus k, and this is my r squared. H is going to equal -1, K is going to equal 2, R is going to equal 3. So now, with all of that, I can draw a graph. So let me make this whole smaller. And let me add a picture real quick of my graph. So to graph this, my center was going to be, oh, let me move it really quick, I can't see. -1, 2. So I'm going to do -1 and up 2. And my radius was 3, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, over 3, down 3, and over 1, 2, 3. And then here is my beautiful, oh, it was beautiful to that piece. There's my beautiful circle for number 4. So there's my graph, and I had to complete the square to get to this form. So hopefully this helps you remember how to do some circle stuff.